Now on the investigation of this attack, I'm joined by Pat McMonigle. He is a former FBI supervisory special agent who worked in counterterrorism. Thanks, Pat, for being with us. I do appreciate it. I know you saw it earlier on today. We learned more about the FBI's investigation into this suspect, including his travels overseas, trips he made to New Orleans before allegedly carrying out this attack. The suspect also reportedly claimed to have joined ISIS, though investigators have said they believe he acted alone. What does this tell you about this particular suspect and his potential involvement with ISIS or any other radical groups?
Thanks for having me. Well, that's why it's so important for us, the FBI and the U.S. government, really to have very good relationship with our allies overseas. This is really the fusion of the FBI, the intel services, and law enforcement to work overseas with, like in Egypt, the Mukhabarat of their intel services. So we want to find out what are those holes in his travel. You know, he had some travel, obviously, to Egypt, but it was kind of unaccounted for at this point, and then he returned back to Canada. Was he, trying to fly through Canada to obfuscate his travel? Did he meet up with someone there? There's still obviously a lot more questions, but these are the things that the investigators are working on. This is why the FBI has a world footprint and has people in every embassy and in war zones around the world.
He gave us an awful lot of details and information today. You know, New Orleans is set to host the Super Bowl in just over a month. We'll also have the inauguration of President-elect Trump in just a few weeks, as well as the state funeral for former President Jimmy Carter on Thursday. What can or should be done in terms of securing these high-profile events when we're talking about this kind of attack that just happened, which is really low tech?
So security will be heightened around all events in the coming days. We're going to be really looking for copycat attacks. We'll be really worried about that. Public safety is going to be, at the very top of everyone's priority. There'll be a lot more barriers. There are going to be more lines and security protocols to get through. But this is our new reality now. So if the FBI has any specific information or specific threats, of course, they'll pass that on. Right now, it doesn't appear that there is anything specific. But if there's going to be some attack at some specific location, of course, that location and that event probably won't take place. I would just, remain vigilant. And I would tell my families, and my people who are close to me, go about your business, but always be vigilant.
Law enforcement always learns, so does the public, something out of these horrific attacks. I'm wondering if you see any lessons that can be learned based on what we know about this attack in terms of security measures that were in place or should have been in place moving forward there on Bourbon Street and really around the country.
Well, I think that it says a lot about our intel function of the FBI and really who we're keeping track of in the world, in the United States. So you look at different subsets of populations. I'm an Irish Catholic, and I'll use myself as an example. You have different subsets of, Catholics, right? And then you can get down to a subset that, might think that the IRA is important in their life. And so you want to be, aware of those kind of people. It's not often where someone comes totally out of the blue. It appears at this point that he made very little references before, much earlier before. And even neighbors didn't see him as being kind of a dangerous person. But evidently he may have had some communications with people overseas. So I think that it really shows that we really need to tighten down on the intel functions and working with overseas partners and working on our organization of the FBI.
All right, former FBI supervisory special agent Pat McMonigle, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.